Yo, what's good? I'm back for another YouTube video. Now, yesterday I had a double feature. I saw Predator Badlands and a movie called Die My Love. Now, this review is going to be all Predator Badlands, and then once I'm done filming this, I'm going to film the review for the other movie that I saw. But, yeah, yesterday I saw Predator Badlands. Now, I didn't have like super huge expectations for this movie. I didn't think it would be bad, obviously, because the Predator and Alien franchise have been on a high recently, with last year's Alien Romulus being fucking fantastic. And then this year with Predator Killer of Killers, which released to Hulu, it was an animated movie. That was really good, and that left me intrigued. So I was excited to see where this would take the story. And I will say, I can confirm that this movie is very good. It is PG-13, which, was a concern at first, but thankfully it doesn't really hold back on anything. Because there's no human characters in the movie. It's mainly synthetics and just creatures on the planet that Deck is hunting on. So I guess that's why it got the rating that it got. But this rating, it doesn't really hold too much back. What I will say is, though, this definitely appeals to a younger audience. It definitely, yeah, it appeals to a younger audience, I will say. Because, like, if you put this movie and Alien Romulus, for instance, if you put them side by side, it's two completely different tones and shifts. Alien Romulus is very dark, gritty, bloody, gruesome, while this movie is more action, more heartfelt. It was just a little lighter. You feel what I'm saying? While Alien Romulus was more horror. Which isn't a terrible thing, because, Predator has always been a little bit of, like, an action-y kind of franchise, especially with the original. It's never fully been, like, horror. It's always been, like, kind of like an action sci-fi type of genre. But I feel like it works for this. There are quite a bit of, like, jokes that are obviously, when I was watching it, I watched it with my mom, because she recently got A-list. She was eating it up. She honestly, she was more like attached to the characters than I was. Not saying that I wasn't like super attached, but she was definitely more invested in our main protagonist story. So yeah, let's just get into it. Deck. Deck is like a runt, kind of like a Yautja, like it's kind of a coming of age story, you feel what I'm saying? He's known as like the weakest. He's trying to gain his father's approval. The movie starts off with him and his brother having a little scrap, just like training type shit. And a majority of the movie is just them speaking in their language, the Yautja. We obviously, we get some English with the synthetics, but a majority of it is like you're going to have to read quite a bit, which I don't have a problem with, because I watch, anime and shit, and just in general, I watch shit in different languages. So, but yeah, I found it really interesting seeing how they interacted with each other, and things of that nature. I will say, like, if this is someone's first time watching one of these movies, they might get the wrong impression, because, like, Deck is a really good character. He is. But some people might take that as, oh, all Predators can be good, because he eventually, he is the protagonist, so he starts off a little hard and cold, but then by the end, he's like there's some sense of humanity in him. And for longtime fans, that might be a problem. Me personally, I liked it. But most Predators are like, stone cold, fucking badass warriors and shit. Like Deck's father, who ends up trying to kill Deck, but his brother spares him. And then Deck's father kills his brother, and then he gets sent off to the planet, I think it's called Genna, to kill this monster called the Callisk, who is known as this unkillable creature. And Genna as a whole is a planet just filled with creatures just trying to kill you. So a majority of the movie, we just have Deck going through different set pieces of different like aliens and shit. At one point it's the trees. Another point is like this thing that's like climbing through the trees, and like little bugs and shit, just, you know, random little creatures. I feel like we got like a glimpse of that in Predators, which is the third Predator movie, when those humans got stuck on that planet. It was like a hunting ground for the predators. I feel like that's the only other time that we got to really see other creatures. And I guess recently, I want to make a comparison to Alien Earth, which is a show that recently just wrapped up, I think, in like September, I think it ended. That showed like different creatures from different universes besides the xenomorph. So like they're definitely leaning into more of the other creatures, which, you know, I don't hate, but, you know, we're here for like the main, you know, we're here for the Yauchi, you feel what I'm saying? So he comes across this synthetic named Thea. She's cut in half and they team up. She says, "Oh, I know where the Callisk is. I can bring you to her, to the Callisk. Just in return, help me find my legs and my sister." I forgot the sister's name, I'm not gonna lie, but it's Ella Fanning. She's playing two characters. One's Thea, the other one's the bad one. That's what I'm just gonna call her, because I deadass the name is not coming to me. So yeah, Thea is very charismatic. She's a very expressive synthetic. One of the most expressive synthetics I think I've seen in a while. She brings a lot of emotion to the character, in like a different way that Andy did. Andy was like, you know, more like, he was emotional, but like, you know, in a heartfelt way. She's more like bubbly. So some people might be like annoyed by her character at parts, at times, because she is very unserious. But me personally, I didn't really hate it all that much. It wasn't too excessive, but it was getting there. It was getting there. As long as like the next Predator movie we get is like we go back to the rated R shit, you know, the blood, violence, the cursing, all that shit. Because I don't want them to like, you know, take it in a Star Wars direction. You know, I don't really, I'm not a big fan of Star Wars at all, you know. But I don't want them to butcher the franchise, like this franchise, like they did with Star Wars. Even though, you know, the Predator, we've just had a resurgence, you know. It hasn't always been great, you know. Before Prey, the Predator franchise was like on a downward spiral. So Dan Trachtenberg, I trust him. He's doing good. Let's just keep up the pace, the momentum. So basically, we also come across this little like monkey looking thing, and it's basically the Callisk's child. So eventually Deck and Thea, they get to the base where Thea's like stationed and shit. They find her legs, and then Thea is like, "Oh yeah, we're here for the Callisk too. You know, Mother sent us here to get the Callisk." So, you know, and Deck's here to prove his point, you know, that he's not the weakest. He wants to kill the Callisk to get his cloak and shit. So that puts them at odds with each other. Deck fights the Callisk. It has crazy regenerative abilities. And then the bad one, Thea's sister, she freezes them both. And then they take them off, and Deck escapes, but the Callisk is left trapped. Now, the little monkey thing, which is, I think his name is Bud, or her name, she helps out Deck and Thea from being eaten earlier in the film. So they're like kind of like a trio. So eventually Deck goes to save Thea. He succeeds. She gets her full body back. And then the bad sister and the Callisk have one little showdown. The Callisk wins, and, you know, Deck proves himself as a mighty warrior. but then the callus dies after the bad one blows it up with like ice. Like it, the callus swallows her, and then she uses one of the tools that the predator deck had, and it just it freezes the callus and it explodes. But then Deck kills the bad one, and then it's GG's. For a second there, I low-key thought that they was going to end the movie there with the bad sister killing Thea, but thankfully that didn't happen. That would have been a crazy ending, though. You know, have them lose like that. I like, for a second, I did, the way the bad one was moving, I thought she was finna be like the main antagonist, like for like future movies, the way she was coming. I thought she was gonna be like on some Thanos shit. But nah, Deck kills her. They go back to Deck's planet. He fights his father, kills his father, and happy. Bud is a little bigger now. He's grown a bit. And then at the end, Deck's mother's coming, and it ends there with like him telling Thea, "Oh yeah, that's my mom. She's coming." So yeah, man, I'm very intrigued. At first I thought, like, when the ship was flying in at the end, I thought it was the characters from Killer of Killers, the Japanese guy, and Torres, I'm pretty sure, who's the World War II pilot. I think one of the wars. I know when they take place, but like I'm pretty sure it was World War II. But that took World War II was 1939 to 1945. Then World War I was 1914 to 1918. I'm pretty sure it was World War II, though. Pretty sure. But yeah. I for a second I thought it was them. So I was like, holy shit, they're really tying it in. Because at the end of Killer of Killers, the Japanese guy and Torres, they escape through the ship, and then the girl, the Viking woman, she gets left behind with like the king of the Yautja, whoever the fuck that nigga's name was, and then that movie ends with, you know, them being chased down. So I thought that was them, but no, it's Deck's mom. So yeah, where we're at right now, we have a bunch of loose ends. I'm not gonna lie, we have the ending of Alien Romulus with Rain and Andy going to Yavaga. We have Alien Earth, which also left off on a cliffhanger with fucking Marcy or Wendy and them like defeating the grown-ups and like taking over. And then we have Killer of Killers, which ends with Torres and the Japanese guy being chased. And also we get revealed that the girl from Prey, she's been frozen. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's been frozen. And also Donald Glover has also been frozen, and they might make their return. We also, you know, they might bring in, you know, the guy from Predators and maybe the Predator, but I doubt it because, you know, everybody hated that shit. And now we have this ending with Deck, Thea, Bud, and his mom. So it's like we have a bunch of different storylines going on right now within these two respective franchises that eventually, hopefully, if written well, will all come together nicely to a inevitable Alien versus Predator 3. But we also have to, you know, take into consideration that Alien Romulus 2, the sequel, is currently underway. Right now, like, I'm excited to see where this is heading, but at the same time, I feel like they need to start like connecting the dots, because it feels like just a bunch of different storylines going on right now. And I want them to tie in, you know, I want them to start blending in, like on some Marvel shit. You know how the Marvel post-credit scenes, like, they always hint at like another movie or a past movie, and it's like it gets niggas hyped. Like, they're ending these movies or these shows on like interesting, intriguing notes, but it's like they're fucking like they're like blue balling us a little bit. They're like fucking tickling our pickle a little bit just for us to not fucking finish. I'm trying to finish. What the fuck is you doing? You know what I'm saying? They keep edging us, you know? They need to start fucking actually, you know, they need to come up with a solid plan on how all this is going to come together. First of all, there's so many characters right now, so many factors, so many new characters that we have yet to be introduced to that will probably be important later on. They need to really like come together and figure out, okay, How are we going to make this work? How are we going to get all of this into an inevitable Alien versus Predator 3? Because I feel like everybody's just doing their own little fucking side quest, side mission without really thinking about the bigger picture, the team. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah. Sorry for that little rant. I just want things to start feeling a little more connected, and because right now it feels a bit disjointed. You feel me? But overall, I'm excited, bro. I'm very excited. I think both of these franchises are in good hands, and I can't wait to see what's next. I mean, we don't really know what's next, you know. Besides, the confirmation of Alien Romulus 2, everything else with Predator and the Alien Earth show, we don't know. We don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I'm very excited. And Predator Badlands was great. I did see it in 3D, which was fine. I'm not the biggest fan of 3D, but it was cool. I'm probably gonna see it a second time, just to get my final thoughts and opinions, to see if I missed anything. Certain Easter eggs, this, that, and the third. But yeah, bro, that's about it. We don't see any Xenomorphs. Just throwing that out there. The only connection we get from Predator and Alien is the synthetics. So that's about it. But yeah, word. This has been my review for Predator Badlands. It was good. I'm excited for the future of these franchises, and I can't wait to finally sit in the theater and be like, yeah, Alien versus Predator 3. It is time. You feel me? Because it's long overdue, bruh. It's long overdue. Word. That's it, man. I'm the Hero Light Legend, Tyree Figueroa, signing out. Peace.